Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Couple Sutra Podcast. We hope everybody's week is going great.
This week is episode 5, and we just want to share some excitement that we officially hit 50 downloads the other day, and it was a very exciting moment, and we just think it's really cool. We can kind of keep stats on where the downloads are coming from. So we're from Wisconsin, so a majority of them are from there, but it's kind of cool to see the different states that we're getting. So we got Illinois, New York, California, Louisiana, Iowa, Maine, Tennessee. Did I say Indiana already? No, in Indiana. And then we also have one from the United Kingdom and one from Germany. So it's really cool, and we hope we can get all the states as well. It's just really fun to watch our podcast grow. So yeah, it was very exciting to have those 50 plus downloads and then just seeing all our listeners and where they're all from. So thank you guys again. Sex position of the week this past week was the pretzel dip. We actually just did it today, and I would say it was very successful. We liked it. My leg got a little tired because of how it's supposed to be in the air, so I had Jeff hold it, which helped.
And then I rolled kind of onto my side.
Yeah, and then we finished that way, and it was perfect. So pretzel dip with a twist.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
It worked really well doing that.
Yeah. And then I did learn this week, with how our week went and everything, first thing I wanted to discuss is I learned that I have some PTSD.
We're not making light of actual PTSD, but...
Yeah, so our lame version of PTSD is that a couple weeks ago, we were going to bed, nothing sexual, just going to bed. We spoon every night, and Jeff was kissing my back. I don't know, but I was very finicky and flinchy.
And then I was going to pretend to bite your back. I don't know. It was just weird. I was just going to bite her back, being kind of playful, nothing sexual, just trying to be weird.
And I tried to, I jolted backwards at him because it tickled and I didn't want it. And his tooth skidded across my back, and it really hurt. And he kept trying to pat it to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, stop touching it. And we're laying there, and he's breathing on it, trying to fall asleep. And every time he breathes on it, it hurts. So I finally, reach around and touch it. And I'm that weirdo who licked my finger because I'm like, well, is it spit or blood? And it tasted like iron, so I had him put a light on it. And he frickin' cut my mole off my... He didn't take the mole off, but he skimmed it. It was a raised mole.
Yeah.
And frickin' had blood running down my back. So... I say I have a little PTSD on it because he was doing that today when we were taking our afternoon nap, because who doesn't need that on a Sunday? And I got really jumpy because I was terrified that he was going to cut it. Reasoning for his sharp teeth is, I think that tooth is chipped, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. It doesn't look bad. It's just
a little chip.
It's just a little chip, but it's a sharp chip. So yeah. I learned that today, but other than that, you want to tell them about the date we did this past weekend?
Yeah, so it was nice. We had a day off together on Friday. We went golfing, and we ended up, there was a guy that we knew that we had him come with us, and he takes golf as seriously as we do, which is we want to do well, but if we don't, we might get frustrated, but we're not going to drive our car off a bridge. So It was kind of fun. Just met a random guy that we had met in the past, golfed with him, and then we went on a lunch date. We had a monster margarita because we went to a Mexican restaurant, and we had been talking about this in the past already, but once we had that monster margarita in us, it made it a lot easier to just be like, hey, let's go buy a mattress, because we were talking about getting a king-size mattress because our dog sleeps with us almost every night, and he is a Great Dane mix. He's 100 pounds, and he needs to lay tight to you. So hopefully having a king-size mattress will help keep us cool and give us more space. So we purchased a mattress, and we're excited that that's coming tomorrow. And then after our little mattress date, we walked around and went to a kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a sweet shop. Mm-hmm. And got some different desserts. Just had a fat day because we tend to eat healthier. But we just had a day where we just had drinks and sweets and took time for each other.
It was a good day. Yeah. Had a sugar high at the end of that day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so our week went very well. Our date idea this week is a DIY idea. So some, depending on the towns you're in, some of them have these studios where you can walk in and make your own sign, or you can paint ceramics or make stained glass. It really just depends on the town you're near. If you don't have one of these, I do apologize. You might have to travel. But it's also our gift idea this week, because sometimes when you make those things, you could be making it for somebody else. So it's a dual purpose. I know we did this our first year of dating. We did this. We went to a place and made signs, and they're just hanging up in the house. I think right now they're not. But one of them's in our living room on a shelf, and the other one's in my craft room waiting to be rehung. But it's really fun, just bonding time together while you have a little fun with some paint. And then, like I said, it also makes for a good gift if that's what you're making it for. And, you know, if you don't have one of those places nearby, you can always go on Amazon and purchase something that you guys can work on at home.
And it's nice because you get to do something, and then you have something afterwards to show for it that you can look at to remember. So, our sex stories this week.
You want to go first?
I think you should go first.
All right.
Not that mine are going to be better than yours, but...
It sounds like they are.
No,
Okay.
Yours tend to be better.
All right. The first one I have, I'm sorry, I don't know what site it was from, but it says, I was riding my boyfriend on top, leaning over, boobs in his face. I told him how amazing he felt inside me, and he was telling me that he was about to come. Suddenly, he shrieked and threw me off to the side while he sat straight up in bed and grabbed his balls, cursing in pain. Apparently, my cat climbed onto the bed, saw his testicles bouncing rhythmically up and down, and decided that they would be the best cat toy ever. Kitty literally dove under my ass and bit him right in the nuts. In case you were wondering, it's really hard to put a Band-Aid on your boyfriend's scrotum. We haven't had that happen yet.
No.
I'm kind of shocked, but when I read this, I'm like, wow, we're fortunate souls on that one. Well, not me, but you.
Us. Yeah, our cats join us half the time, and will stare at you, kind of judging.
We sound kind of funny when we're like, our cats will join us. I realized when I was editing last week's episode, when you guys listen, there's a part where you said something about the cat. You like it when the cat... You said to me, you like it when the cat watches or something. And I totally ignored the fact that you said that and kept going. And it sounded really weird. So I wanted to make that point and hear that. I just kind of ignored it on accident.
I'm not into the cats watching. I was probably being sarcastic.
We're not into that. No, you were making fun of me and said that. And it was a complete joke. But for some reason, I did not laugh and I kept going. And I couldn't cut it out because it did not work in that episode to cut it out. I'm like, oh my God, I might sound like a creep in this episode. But It was funny.
So mine is from Reddit, and it's Bird is the Word, was the author. Because both my boyfriend and I were out of our minds drunk and had stumbled back to his place, promising each other absurdly vulgar sexual favors. You know the kind. We get to his place and the sex is hot. We do it everywhere, every position except for cowgirl. Since that's my favorite and I'm saving it for last, I can sense we're both close and command him to lie on his back while I proceed to mount him. I start my routine and hear a funny noise. It's dark, and I say his name to confirm what I fear. Upon lying on his back, he immediately passed out and he began to snore loudly. I can tell he is out for good, so chuckling, I give up and go to the kitchen and grab a glass of water. I chat idly with his roommate for a few minutes. We'll pretend he couldn't hear anything over his World of Warcraft, and head back into my boyfriend's room for the most glorious sight. Him lying spread eagle on top of the sheets, unquestionably unconscious, dick still hard, with the biggest shit-eating grin on his sleeping face. I'll never forget that face. And then somebody writes, and their name is deleted. It says, for the record, we don't usually mind if you keep using our cock if it's still working. Which sounds a little...
That's a little rapey.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't take that advice, guys. You could get in trouble for that one.
Yeah.
But that is hilarious that he just has a grin on his face. It's like, this was great.
And we've joked about that, too. Falling asleep during sex.
Mm-hmm. We've not done it, but I think there was one time we were doing it and I told you I probably could have fallen asleep. It could have been high, though.
To be completely honest with all of our listeners, this was yesterday. We were talking about doing the pretzel dip, and because we were having sex, you were on top of me, and then you stopped, grabbed my phone, which was on the bed. You're still on top of me, looking at the phone, debating whether we're going to try the pretzel dip or not. Decided to...
I showed it to him, like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. Let's just continue.
You're like, we don't have time to try this because we were going to a wedding pretty soon. So neither one fell asleep, but you were on the phone, just staring at the phone on top.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. And the last story we have today is from one of our friends. And she says, "Hi, Couples Sutra, new listener here. After listening to your last podcast, I can't help but think of my own terrible and only after months of rehab funny sex story. I had a thing with this man who knew very little English. We still made it work and had been casually hanging out for a few months with little issue. Then we made it to the bedroom. STDs are pretty rampant in the country I was in, and sex education is not a thing there. So being the responsible, awkward, and forward sex fanatic I am, I asked directly, do you have any STDs? And he's like, STDs? Yes, I have STD. Unfortunately, I didn't get any that night. The next day, I would see him again as he was the bartender at our regular spot. The whole day I had been researching medicines, practicing different methods to bring it up, and praying he didn't have an incurable disease. Even after all my prep, I chickened out. I didn't talk to him for a week. Thinking I could just let this be the end of our relationship, we weren't that serious anyway. At the end of the week, he reached out and asked to hang out. I invited him over and prepared for a talk. Turns out, after a quick dictionary check, he had mistaken STD for the word condom. He had been trying to say that night that he had a condom. His junk was clean and he was prepared. We proceeded to fiercely bang for the next 3 hours, worry-free and giggling the whole time. And she did the whole too long, didn't read. Language barrier caused my foreign boo to replace the word condom with STD. Yeah, I think that's very funny, and how it just, I mean, obviously that's going to completely ruin a mood if you misinterpreted STD and condom.
You have an STD? Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. And, like, I'm sure he was so confident about it, too. He's like, yeah, I have STD. Like, and then all of a sudden she's like, well, we're done. And he was probably really confused about it. All right. Do you want to go over our sex position of the week?
Yeah, so this is new to me. I've not looked at this. The name is called G-Whiz.
Oh, I guess if you didn't look at it, I can...
Yeah, so I don't know. You're the sex position expert.
For the purpose of describing it, I say guy, girl, and I do apologize, guys, that this is how we have been saying them, but just realize, any couple can do this. So for any time we explain sex position of the week, it's just easier for me to explain guy with girl. But obviously, these work with anyone in any type of relationship. But for purposes of describing and for our pictures, when I look them up, I just take the first thing I can find. We accept everybody. It's just easier for us to explain it. So this week with G-Whiz, so you have the guy on his knees while the girl lies on her back and puts her legs over the guy's shoulders. So honestly, he's just kneeling on the bed. Her butt's kind of resting on his thighs with her legs over the shoulders. It looks like I saw the picture, so you guys will see that on our Facebook and Instagram. It looks very comfortable for the girl. I feel like a lot of the sex positions we have done have been very comfortable for the girls. Maybe we'll make them do a little bit more work next time.
I feel like the Amazon, you're squatting kind of.
The Amazon was the only one, but it's also, we haven't heard any successful stories yet, ladies. Let me know.
Yeah, let us know if somebody can complete the Amazon.
Our podcast comes out every Wednesday morning. Social media, you guys can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Couples Sutra. Remember, that is couples with a K. Or you can email us at couplessutra@gmail.com. Please, guys, email us your sex stories, sex positions, thoughts, issues you have questions on. Email us anything. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine. Just write that somewhere in your email, and we are more than happy to share whatever you wanted to share with us anonymously. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Have a great week.